Hello and welcome to episode 3 Cryptofolio. So in this episode I will explain to you why did I invest in Pria. So one of the major reasons that I got attracted to Pria is the hyper deflationary property. So I'll go through what hyper deflation is. So if you look into the US M0 money supply, that is the base money supply of US dollar. So you can see that after 2008 onwards, due to quantitative easing, and now after 2020 due to corona stimulus, it is on an exponential growth. So that basically means that the total money in circulation is rising exponentially as per US dollar case. Now, if you come to Bitcoin, you can see that the supply reward supply halves every 4 years. The reward rates decreases. So basically, right now, around 18 million bitcoins are in circulation, and around 3 million are yet to come out as mining rewards. So basically, it is going towards a plateau phase in the coming 4 to 8 years. So after which the mining rewards will be very minimal, and finally there is no Bitcoin that is not going to be mined after above 21 million. So 21 million is the final limit. So if you come to Pria, you can see that the coin supply starts at 100,000, and now it during the first turn it goes from 100,000 maximum supply to 10,000, which is the minimum supply. So this is actually a deflationary cycle. So after this first turn, then it goes into an inflationary cycle, but it doesn't go way back up to 100,000. Instead, the maximum is set so for this turn at 50,000. From 50,000, it will come down to 5,000. From 5,000 again, it goes up to 25,000. From there, it comes down to 2,500, so on and so forth, till it comes to 1.2 coins only. So essentially, during the hyper deflation phase, the supply of Pria comes down from 100,000 to just 1.2 Pria. So after that hyper deflationary or macro contraction phase, there is a macro expansion phase where the 1.2 Pria goes back to 100,000 supply via the minting process. Okay, so this is the basic difference between these three forms of money. One is the fiat money, the US dollar, so it is going exponentially. Second is the Bitcoin, so it is kind of the graph is plateauing towards the tapering, and the third one is the Pria, which is actually deflationary. So you can compare and understand these three graphs. So this is why the value of Pria may grow exponentially. Again, this is the US M0 money supply graph from tradingeconomics.com, and this is the Bitcoin supply chart, and this is the Pria hyperdeflation chart. So this is the one ultra cycle where it starts at 100,000, reaches to 1.2, and then go back to 100,000 again. So it is called a ultra cycle. So again, the two other important reasons for me to invest in Pria. One is the transaction loss, and the third one is the airdrop feature. So what is the transaction loss? So in each transaction, if it is not to the Uniswap wallet in which the liquidity is provided to Pria, so if it is not a buy or sell transaction into that pool, every other transaction or transfer or buy or sell of Pria will attract a transaction burn. So this 1.25% of every transaction will be burnt, and this 1.25% itself will start going up with each cycle of airdrop. So out of this 1.25%, 0.85% of transaction goes to the airdrop address, and 0.5% of transaction goes to the owner address. So and there is a supply cap for the airdrop address which is kept at 5%, so that the total supply, if it is compared to the total supply, the airdrop address does not become too large, so that prevents that. So again, the owner address stops receiving funds if the balance exceeds 1.5%. So basically what happens is like the airdrops, from each transaction, whatever is burnt, a part of the transaction goes into an airdrop address, and from the airdrop address, when the transaction becomes 200 transaction, after 200 transaction, whoever done the transaction, they will get an airdrop in their address. So there are certain conditions for that. The transfer amount should be 0.25%, at least minimum of the airdrop wallet size. So there are certain conditions for that, for the address to be qualified for airdrops transactions. So basically what happens is like, for each transaction, the transacting person gets an airdrop, and a part of the transaction is extinguished and it goes to the owner address. So airdrop amounts are also increased dynamically when each dynamically when the airdrop address holds 2% of the total supply, and it is also decreased dynamically if it comes down below 1% of the total supply. So this is about airdrops and the transaction loss. Now there are other features of Pria, which are there will be a minimum supply during the turn 1. The minimum supply goes to 10,000. Okay, so these are all the features of Pria. It is all listed in the website. You can go read there. Now the other most important thing about Pria is its cycles. So basically what happens is like, the currency supply comes down from 100,000 to 10,000, and then goes back up to 50,000 as explained earlier. Then it comes to 1.2, and then it goes to again 100,000. So this is completes one ultra cycle. So this chart actually shows 3 ultra cycles. So what may happen during an ultra cycle is like, as the coins get burned, people may actually, in deflationary cycle may be a little bit more prolonged, like from going from 100,000 to 10,000 Pria. It may take a little bit long time. But what happens during the inflationary cycle is like, Pria will be minted during the process. So whoever is transacting during that time will be minting Pria. So actually this inflationary cycle may happen within maybe a matter of hours or minute, but in deflationary cycle may take a little bit more longer duration, because people, as and when the price start to increase, people may not sell, or when they book profits only, the transaction loss will happen, and the burns will happen. So basically, if somebody retains Pria, like say around say 100 address, 100 accounts retains 1,000 Pria each, means so again, if 100 address retains 120 Pria each, so it becomes 12,000. So if they decide to transact 0.001 Pria for each transfer, to avoid the inactivity burn, then it may take a very long duration. But again, the market dynamics will be at work, where some or the other will be actually selling Pria and booking profits, and then attracting the transaction burns again. So again, these are the supply projections. So in a macro contraction stage, where Pria reduces its supply from 1 lakh to 1.2 Pria, as explained earlier. So again, in the expansion phase, it increases from 1.2 Pria to 100,000. So there is one more important feature, which is the inactivity burn. So which means that if an account is inactive for 35 days, what happens is like, any user can trigger a function in the contract which can burn up to 25% of the tokens in that particular address. So it means that each of the address, you have to do a transaction. Even if a very little transaction, you have to do that. Otherwise your account will deem inactive, and then your account may be burned by somebody else. So 25%. So again, if the inactivity lasts for more than 60 days, the inactivity burn rate may increase up to 100%. So this actually is done as a necessary measure to prevent tokens to get stuck in wallet. So if somebody loses their private key, or somebody cannot access their wallet and transact, or somebody forgets, okay, so so those wallets will get burned, so that so that all the 100,000 Pria which are in circulation, and as remaining, which are remaining, that of the transaction burn will always be there as active wallets. So that is why the inactivity burn system is there. So there are few other reasons also that I would like to point out. So one is about the distribution. If you look into many coins, the distribution is like there will be accounts holding say 10 to 15%. There will be 3 or 4 or 5 top accounts will be holding 40 to 50% of the total token value. So in case of Pria, it is almost like very distribution is like there are not many accounts actually holding a larger percentage, and even the owner account can hold a maximum of 1.5% as per the 0.5% that will come into the owner account. So again, one another thing about this Pria is the integrity and continuity. Like earlier, the Pria project was actually initially the Galore project. It was later converted into Pria, and during the conversion, actually what the founder did was to launch Pria with the initial GAL holders itself were benefited according to their Galore holdings. So that means in case like Pria, some other hack or something like that happens, and there is a problem, this type of another token may be launched in which the Pria holders may be given allocation. So as the founder already done that, we can rely on his integrity and the continuity. So again, I am like astounded by the intelligence of this founder, wherein I am yet to see another coin where actually lot of these aspects has been thought about and implemented in a very intelligent way. So we can rely on the intelligence to actually be put at work as the appreciation of the coin value. So again, this is the latest news from the founder, where 49.43% of liquidity in Uniswap is locked for 2 years. So that is 100% of the deployer liquidity. There is no risk of it getting pulled out of the liquidity pool for at least another 2 years. So that is it for today. Please like, share and subscribe, and do your own research regarding all these things before taking an informed decision to invest on whichever coin you want.